What is the impact that mental health has had on your life, and how did you feel about seeking support?
How has it not affected my life? And honestly, I'd say that every facet of my life is affected by my mental health. Every activity that most people seem to find quite simple, I may struggle with. And from one day to the next, I have absolutely no idea what level of functionality I'll have. So I can't even plan ahead. On one day, I could be essentially fine. And then the next day, I could just not be able to do anything.
Mental health has impacted my life in many ways. It's had an effect on my relationships, it's had an effect on my home life, on my working life. A lot of my teens and 20s, I would just class as wasted time. It was just time that was lost to mental illness.
And quite often I have to plan things, such as I'm not good at using phone. I have severe anxiety about using the phone. And I also have auditory hallucinations, which makes using the phone quite difficult. So if I have several phone calls I need to make, I can only physically manage one a day. This is quite difficult to plan, because you've got to prioritise them, which is another thing I'm not great at. I'd imagine most other people could just make all 5 phone calls in one day. And that takes me a week, because I've got to do one a day, and I've got to essentially have a nap after each one. It's a big thing.
Specifically, when I think about my education, at secondary school, I underachieved because I just couldn't focus, just couldn't concentrate. There was just so much going on in my head, especially with OCD. I used to have to reread things all the time. There were certain words and numbers that were unlucky for me, which, if I saw them on a page, would cause me to get stuck and to obsess and ruminate about things. I eventually failed all my A levels, which meant that I didn't go to university. And although I later got an open university degree, I really regret missing out on the whole experience of university life.
Simple things like going to the shop become a huge ordeal because of the way I get paranoid in social situations around other human beings. Driving. Oh God, I have such anxiety when it comes to driving. I have to plan to get anywhere I'm going to at least half an hour early so that I have time to calm down from the inevitable panic attack. Basically, what I'm saying is, it impacts on pretty much every aspect of my life because it just makes everything that little bit more difficult and that little bit more needing to plan in advance and think through. And nothing can happen spontaneously. Nothing can happen just because I want it to happen. Everything has to be planned in minute detail, and there have to be contingency plans just in case things go wrong. But that's how life is, I'm afraid. I've pretty much come to accept it, and I've pretty much found ways around the worst of it. But yeah, if I'm perfectly honest, it impacts on pretty much every aspect of my life.
I was very apprehensive about starting therapy, even though it was something that I thought about for a couple of years, and I thought it would be something that would be beneficial and that I'd respond well to. It was still a very big step to firstly admit that I needed this additional support and to then actually go out and find it. I think my biggest reservation was really that if my friends and family found out, that they'd then somehow perceive me in a negative way, or it would somehow label me as being broken. In the end, when I did share the news that I was starting therapy, the reactions from my friends and family were very positive, and they have been incredibly supportive. I actually also then took the step of sharing this news on social media, and this was largely because of my role here at Time to Change and being inspired by other champions. Because I really think there's a huge benefit in sharing these experiences, because other people will see them, it might resonate with them, and then they don't feel as alone. And I also genuinely believe that there's nothing wrong with getting support. but it doesn't make it any less scary. And I have to say, sharing it was terrifying, but I'm really glad in the end that I did share it.